Imagine a brain, not inside a human, but grown in a lab. A brain that can think, learn, and maybe even feel. What sounds like pure science fiction is already happening. Scientists are working with organoids, tiny brain structures grown from stem cells. These organoids send electrical signals and even show patterns of activity, just like miniature versions of our own brains. Other researchers are building hybrids, combining biological neurons with computer chips to create systems that act like living computers. The potential is enormous, healing diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson, restoring lost memories, even bridging the gap between humans and machines. But the questions go far deeper. If we one day build a complete artificial brain, what would that mean for consciousness, identity, and what it truly means to be human? In this video, we'll explore what scientists have already achieved, how an artificial brain could work, the incredible medical opportunities, and the ethical dangers that come with them. Stay until the end, because we'll look into the future and ask, could an artificial brain become the first step toward a new kind of intelligence? The idea of an artificial brain sounds futuristic, but the first steps are already here. Scientists are creating organoids, tiny clusters of brain cells grown from stem cells. Kept in special nutrient solutions, they develop into miniature brains no larger than a grain of rice. What's remarkable is that these organoids fire electrical signals and form networks, mimicking primitive brain activity. Meanwhile, researchers are combining biology and technology. Neurons have been connected directly to microchips, creating biocomputers that can process signals and recognize patterns. One striking experiment in 2022 showed that a brain organoid could even play the video game Pong. The neurons responded to feedback and adapted over time, demonstrating that lab-grown brain cells can actually learn. These breakthroughs are still small-scale, but they prove that functioning neural systems can be grown and integrated with technology. What once sounded like science fiction is quickly becoming a scientific reality. The human brain contains 86 billion neurons linked by around 100 trillion synapses. These connections strengthen, weaken, or rewire over time. That's how we learn and think. An artificial brain tries to copy these principles. Biological approach, organoids grown from living neurons. Technical approach, neuromorphic chips, electronic circuits designed to mimic synapses. The most exciting experiments combine both, creating hybrid systems where neurons grow on silicon chips and exchange signals with them. The potential is huge. While today's supercomputers consume massive amounts of energy, the human brain runs on just 20 watts, less than a light bulb. An artificial brain could become a highly efficient bio-supercomputer. More importantly, such systems wouldn't be traditionally programmed. They could adapt and learn on their own, just like human brains, opening the door to machines that don't just compute, but truly think. But what would we use such a brain for? That leads us to medicine. The biggest hopes for artificial brains lie in medicine. Millions suffer from Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and stroke-related brain damage, all of which currently cannot be reversed. Organoids could one day replace damaged brain regions. Early experiments in animals show that transplanted neurons can integrate with existing brain tissue and restore lost functions. For Parkinson's, scientists are already growing neurons that produce dopamine, the chemical missing in patients. If successfully implanted, these cells could reduce tremors and movement disorders. Another possibility is neuroprosthetics powered by artificial neural networks. These could act as interfaces, helping paralyzed patients regain movement control. And looking further ahead, some researchers imagine memory implants, artificial circuits that store and replay information, acting like a biological hard drive. It's early days, but the possibilities are staggering. Artificial brains could transform millions of lives. But with these opportunities come serious risks. The greatest danger lies in consciousness. If an artificial brain is complex enough, could it develop awareness? Where does learning stop and feeling begin? The line is blurry, and no one knows when or how it might be crossed. There are also risks of misuse. Imagine copying memories into an artificial brain. Would that still be the same person, or just a replica? Even in medicine, there's uncertainty. What if organoids implanted in patients grew beyond their intended function, developing independence or unexpected behaviors? And finally, social issues. Who gets access to this technology? Could artificial brains become tools for the wealthy, widening the gap between rich and poor? Like nuclear power, which brought both energy and weapons, Artificial brains could be humanity's greatest breakthrough, or its greatest threat. Today's organoids contain only a few million neurons, tiny compared to the 86 billion in a human brain. A full-scale artificial brain is still decades, perhaps centuries away. But progress is accelerating. Organoids are growing more complex. Neuromorphic chips are becoming more powerful. Many experts believe we'll see practical applications within the next 20 to 30 years, from lab-grown tissue for brain repair to biochips enhancing computing. Some envision far more radical futures, uploading our minds into artificial networks, creating backups of consciousness. Others see artificial brains as the foundation for a new kind of intelligence, not human, not machine, but something entirely new. Whether that future is utopian or dystopian will depend on how we use the technology. But one thing is clear: artificial brains will fundamentally change how we define life, intelligence, and humanity itself. Artificial brains may sound like fiction, but the first steps are already here. Scientists are growing brain organoids, merging neurons with chips, and even teaching lab-grown brain cells to play simple games. The opportunities are enormous, curing diseases, restoring memory, creating new brain-computer interfaces. But so are the risks, blurring the line between man and machine, raising questions about identity and consciousness, and creating technologies that could be misused in dangerous ways. Artificial brains could become humanity's greatest ally, or its biggest threat. Now the question is yours. Do you believe artificial brains will help humanity, or eventually replace us?